At least 8 Palestinians have been killed trying to get food in Gaza as Israel continues its airstrikes across the Strip. Foreign ministers from Australia, Germany, Italy, New Zealand and the UK have condemned Israel's plan to seize Gaza City. Now, the move would force nearly 1 million Palestinians from their homes. In a joint statement, they say it will aggravate the catastrophic humanitarian situation, endangering the lives of the hostages and further risk the mass displacement of civilians. Most Palestinians have already been displaced multiple times during the 22 months of Israel's war. Many families living in Gaza City say they'll stay there regardless of Israel's plan to seize it. Ibrahim Al-Khalili has been speaking to some of them.
In much of Gaza City, tents have replaced homes. Life is fragile, yet resilience runs deep. Every damaged wall is a scar, telling a story of survival. Despite Israel's plan to seize control of this city, many are refusing to leave. Umran lives here with her 6-year-old son and her mother, Yasser.
They say go south, go to Al-Mawasi, but there's nowhere safe anymore. North, south, east or west, no one and nowhere is safe. We will stay here.
Umran lost his eye in an Israeli attack, yet even from a young age he has borne the weight of responsibility, helping his mother with a courage beyond his years. Yasser shares her daughter's resolve.
We won't leave Gaza City. We will live and die here. All of our memories are here. We will not leave even if we all die, even if our children die, even if they destroy our houses.
Sayyid Al-Zard says he has been forcibly displaced more than 10 times. He too refuses to go south.
We've been displaced 10 times. We have nowhere else to go. Let them come. We're in the camps. Where do we go? We have no houses. Everything is gone. I'll die here on my land.
In Gaza, a tent is more than shelter. It's an act of defiance. Despite Israel's announcement that it wants to seize control of Gaza City, many people here have chosen to stay. For them, it is more than just somewhere to live. It is their home, their history, and the legacy they want to pass on to future generations. Ibrahim Al-Khalili, Al Jazeera, Gaza City, Palestine.
Israeli forces are striking densely populated areas in Gaza, killing more Palestinians. At least 14 people have been killed since dawn on Saturday, and most were killed while waiting to collect food from a distribution point that was near the Netzarim corridor. The site is run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an organization that's backed by Israel and the US. More than 1,700 people have been killed near sites since the GHF started operating in May. Now, in southern Gaza, a woman was killed when an Israeli strike hit a residential apartment in Khan Yunis. Witnesses carried some of the injured to Nasser Hospital for treatment, and medics in Gaza warn that health facilities across the Strip are overwhelmed and understaffed. The UN Security Council is expected to hold an emergency session on Sunday to discuss Israel's plan to seize Gaza City. Gabriel Elizondo has more from the UN headquarters in New York.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is not in New York. He is traveling. So through a spokesperson, he issued a statement that read in part, he is gravely alarmed by Israel's plans to occupy Gaza City, calling it a clear escalation that could cost lives.
Palestinians in Gaza continue to endure a humanitarian catastrophe of horrific proportions. The Secretary General warns that this further escalation will result in additional forced displacement, killings, and massive destruction, compounding the unimaginable suffering of the Palestinian population in Gaza.
Riyad Mansour, Palestine's ambassador to the UN, took to the microphones and called on Israel to stop, in his words, the insanity.
Of course, this escalation by the Israeli government is going in total contradiction to the will of the international community, international law, and common sense, and I even dare to say against the wish of the majority of the people inside Israel as we read opinion polls. Therefore, it is the duty of the international community to act.
The Security Council will hold an emergency session to discuss Israel's plans to occupy Gaza City. Diplomatic sources tell Al Jazeera that 14 of the 15 Security Council members supported the idea of holding this emergency meeting. Only one, the United States, did not and tried unsuccessfully to block it. Gabriel Zondo, Al Jazeera at the United Nations in New York.
Javier Abu Aid is a political analyst and former communications director for the Palestine Liberation Organization, joining us live again from Amman. As we heard there from our reporter in New York, what do you think the outcome will be of the emergency UN Security Council? Because they keep meeting throughout this time, and Israel is still continuing what it wants to do. Is it likely to bring any results?
Thank you, Sarah. I think those 14 countries calling for this meeting are doing what they have to do. It's one of the tools of the UN Charter. Unfortunately, there is one country which has a veto right. It's called the United States, that is not opposing so far this latest announcement of a major aggression in Gaza City. And therefore, I don't think that the result or the outcome of this meeting is going to be any different than previous meetings we've had. Even though we may be witnessing a turning point at this stage, because the announcement for ethnic cleansing in Gaza City is something that has not been welcomed even by some of Israel's closest allies, including particularly the case of Germany. We have to be clear, Sarah, that Germany is complicit in the ongoing genocide, and this is too little, too late. But nevertheless, it's the first time that Germany supports a concrete measure against Israel's genocide. Germany is one of the countries, the 4 or 5 countries that constantly lobbies within the European Union against taking minimum steps, like, for example, suspending the EU-Israel Association Agreement because of Israel's obvious violations of human rights and international law. But for Israel to have a country like Germany is suggesting a very minimal, I would say, step, which is to hold some of their weapons being traded to Israel. I would say it is an important step, and once again, has the potential to mark a turning point in Israeli-European relations.
And when you talk about relations, Donald Trump here, the US president, hasn't come out saying anything about this potential, or confirmed takeover of Gaza City. We don't know in what capacity it will happen or when it will happen. How much of the US's influence is existing, if at all? Because it seems, again, Israel is ignoring anything anyone is saying and still going ahead with what it wants to do anyway.
The main difference, Sarah, is that this genocide is being committed mainly with U.S. weapons, and President Trump could certainly stop the genocide if he wanted to. I think he's looking at more domestic implications of having a call like this, and I'm certain that President Trump personally is not pleased with what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. Nevertheless, there is a huge responsibility on the Trump administration, also on the previous Biden administration, for allowing and sustaining this genocide. But I think what's more important is the fact that this transatlantic relationship between the US and the EU, that they constantly try to at least coordinate in some matters, including here on Israel-Palestine, it's being weakened. The EU itself, the President of the European Commission and others, they have not shown the will to stop Israel, and therefore that has pushed individual countries within the European Union, including Spain, Ireland, Slovenia, but even now Germany, to take individual action. This is a significant change, but once again, too little, too late, considering that we are at over 60,000 Palestinians killed in this genocide.
Yeah, and something everyone's been warning about for a very long time. Thank you very much, Javier Abu Aid, there, for your analysis on all of what's going on in Gaza.
Thank you, sir.